This broadcast is the property of Codependents Anonymous. Reproduction without written permission from Codependents Anonymous is not permitted.
David, with the recording now on, might you repeat what we're to share on, what you mentioned?
Yes, I think that would be a good idea. The topic for today's meeting is hope. Hope comes in many forms of expression, including in recovery in CoDA. Please feel free to share on any aspect of hope you would like to share on, including how you experience hope in your recovery in CoDA.
Hi, I'm Kathy, and I'm a grateful recovering codependent.
Hi, Kathy. Welcome.
Hi. After I get done sharing, I'd appreciate if the daily reading that was read before the recording was started be read again, because I found in that reading something where I really did experience hope in CoDA. I came into CoDA after having been, my life was becoming unmanageable. And what had happened is that I had been a tremendously busy human doing for 50 plus years. And I realized after I had gotten into recovery, one of the reasons why I had been so busy was that I was being propelled by feelings that I had not been allowed or had not learned that it would be safe for me to feel. Just before I became aware of the fact that I really needed help, I was beginning to experience some fear. And the fear came from recognizing and wanting to deny that I was capable of making mistakes. I had been for so long in a perfectionistic mode, which I needed to have been in for my profession, but it became such that I was beginning to get extremely frustrated because I was feeling as though people were expecting me to do things and know things that no human being had the ability to do or to know. I was feeling like, to a degree, people were looking to me as a god. And it was something that I was beginning to become aware of, the fact that I was not capable of doing those things, and I couldn't do it perfectly, and I didn't know everything. And so there was a fear that was underneath it all that I was beginning to feel, and I didn't know how to deal with it, because I had been moving through life in a kind of fearless mode, although once I got into recovery and was able to begin to feel the first feeling that I had was that of pain, quickly followed by fear, and I had not recognized that. And I was so grateful as I came into CoDA that I was in a place where I could feel and where I could learn that it was okay to feel, and that my feelings were neither good nor bad. I had grown up learning to take fear away from everybody else and myself, because for me, being afraid was bad. It made me, or anybody who was experiencing it, vulnerable. And when vulnerable, then pain would be inflicted upon them. And I was able to recognize that it was a safe place for me to be able to express the fears that I felt. And once I had been able to go to these meetings, and I was able, fortunately, to go to a CoDA meeting 6 days a week when I first started. And it really did help me to learn that it was okay to feel, that I could express the fears in a safe way. I could process them verbally. I could also process them with tears, and I could also process them and be able to be acknowledged by people listening, and then after the meetings with hugs. And that was a very important part and a great part of the beginning of my recovery. And it really did fill me with a great deal of hope, because I saw that there was a path to be taken. There were steps that could be taken, and they could be taken in a safe place, without shame and without fear being compounded. There was no shame, no fear, no threat to me when I was admitting that I was afraid. I was afraid to ask for help. But help was being given to me without my having to ask. And that was a tremendous hope for me. It was one of those things that really, I could say, put wind in my sail to help me be propelled forward in my recovery. And I am so grateful for that. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you for your share, Kathy. Today's topic is hope. Hope has many forms of expression. Please feel free to share on your experiences with hope in any form you like, including how you experience hope in your CoDA recovery. For the newcomers, welcome to today's fellowship forum for July. The topic is hope.
Thank you, David.
Hi, my name is Lou. I'm a grateful recovering codependent.
Hi, Lou. Welcome.
Thank you. I can remember the first time I went to my first CoDA meeting. I was looking for some way to change, some guidance to change, how to change. I knew I needed to make some changes in my life, but I didn't really know where or how. I just knew that something had to change. And I went to my first CoDA meeting very codependently, to be in the same room with somebody I was very codependent with on a day when I wasn't going to be able to see that person otherwise. So my motives were not truly pure, but they read the patterns and characteristics out of the Blue Codependence Anonymous book. And it was like, check. Yep, I got that one. I got that one. Oh, not that one so much. Oh, but they doubled me on that one. And it was like, how did they write a book about me? I haven't told anybody. But but I left that meeting saying, I need to go to another one of these, because these people have some idea of what I am, who I am, or what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. And maybe I can learn from them. Maybe this is what I need. And that was my first meeting, and such a blessing. I've been attending meetings ever since. I had to travel for my second meeting, and a fair distance, and yet they said, keep coming back. And I have, and I am. And that was 16 and a half years ago. And I have changed so much because of the safety in these rooms, in the understanding. And my first shares were, I felt like I was just, I'm not sure what to share, so I'm going to just share something and open my mouth. And sometimes it sounded to me very mundane, very insignificant. But I started to realize that finding my voice was a significant part of that, and being able to put words onto my feelings and to accept myself and accept others in the room. And I was so grateful for that I had learned that I was supposed to listen to other people rather than fix them, because initially I wanted to fix those people that shared. And I said, oh, did you hear what, in my mind, I said, oh, did you hear what so-and-so said? But I started to say, Lou, did you hear what so-and-so said? And started to taking some of those tidbits and applying them to myself. And so I started changing. And I am so grateful. I'm more in love with my God, my higher power. I'm more in love with my wife. I'm more in love with myself. And I love other people as equals, which was new to me. I tried to love other people as myself, but I didn't love myself. And so I didn't do a very good job. And I am so grateful. The hope that there is recovery in these rooms, and that there is, we can share our experience, our strength, and our hope that life gets better. We can have healthier relationships, and we can learn to love. And I'm so grateful to be here. I'm grateful for the topic, and I'll keep coming back. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou.
Thank you for sharing, Lou. Today's topic is hope. Hope has many forms of expression. Please feel free to share on your experiences with hope in any way you like, including how you experience hope in your CoDA recovery. I'm going to reread, because I missed reading it during recording. This meeting is recorded for posting on the website in future, and a link to that will be posted in the chat later. From In This Moment, Daily Meditation for July 31st. In this moment, I feel my feelings. My feelings do not define me. They are neither good nor bad. They just are. How long I hold on to my feelings, especially resentments, is my choice. If I feel overwhelmed by my feelings, I take a time out. I respect the place where I am. I acknowledge my feelings. They won't go away simply because I ignore or deny them. I need to share them with someone I trust. I find an environment where I feel safe, such as a CoDA meeting, where I can express a full range of emotions. It's such a relief not to worry about being judged or criticized. I now know what my feelings are, and I express them in healthy ways. Thank you, CoDA. We are open for shares on the topic of hope.
David, can I share?
Please, feel free.
I wanted to tell my story, just a little bit of it. It started on December 18th of 2015. I had been living at my daughter's house all summer that year. She had a heart condition and she was waiting for surgery. I slept in the room across the hallway to keep an eye on her. She was in the hospital. And we had a disagreement the last day before her surgery. So I left. Her daughter came and took her home the next day. She stayed with her until 10 o'clock that night, and then came back in the morning and found her mother dead on the floor. She had passed away. Everything ended that day for me. I remember giving my eulogy at her funeral in that high-pitched tone of grief. I'll never forget that. She had always been jealous of her own daughter. I suffered for 3 months, and then I went looking for help. I had no emotions. I was frozen in time. I was numb. All I could remember is that I was in a lot of pain. I was fortunate that I found a counselor who knew that along with the help, what I really needed was hope. I don't think I had ever met anyone who was as powerless as I was when I showed up at my first CoDA meeting. I remember everything about that day, the weather, who I sat next to, and that I did not ask my wife for the car. I just took it. I just went. I had gone to the counselor for help, but what I found was hope. I journaled throughout my journey, and then I became a literature person in my first year, and I devoured everything available. A lot of things changed as I became familiar with this new person in my life. He leased a car for himself. Then he started working. Then he started working out and lost 40 pounds. He rented an apartment for himself. And the first thing he did when he moved into that apartment was sit down and read those journals. He wore a lot. He wrote a lot, and his handwriting improved 1,000%. I found out who he was. I could not be true to myself until I discovered who I was. But it was simply the hope I found in CoDA that led me to the spiritual awakening. My story changes as I forgive the people in my life, and I accept that I did the best I could with what I knew at the time. I thank my higher power every day for the gift of recovery and the fellowship that makes my recovery so rich and full. And I wanted to share this. There is a sweet spot in my recovery. I call it the CoDA train. I got on this train August of 2016. I boarded in a state of denial in the city of survival. As the train gained speed, I looked at the schedule next to the door, and I found my destination to be guilt and shame. I sat down and I thought, crap, I got on the wrong train. But then I thought, survival and denial are behind me now. Maybe there's another connection. And I took a flyer out of the seat back, and it said that there was a CoDA meeting in the club car at 12:15. Then the conductor punched my ticket, and I asked him, is there another connection? And I will never forget what he said. Your destination is up to you. As long as you stay on this train, you are safe. So I went to the CoDA meeting at 12:15. They said the train stops from time to time, and people get on and people get off. But if you stay on this train and visit the club car once a week, you will never reach that state of shame with the town of denial. That day I found serenity on the In This Moment Express. Now I am beginning to get it, and I have hope, and my life makes sense. Thank you for letting me read, and I'll pass.
Thank you for sharing today.
Thank you, James.
James.
Today's topic is hope. We are sharing on the topic, and the room is open for anyone who would like to share. My name is David, and I'll take a share. I came to CoDA many years ago. I didn't know when I came to CoDA that I had no idea about hope. I didn't know what hope was. I had wishes and wants. My mind was full of things I wanted and desired and wished would come true. I wished they would happen. I didn't understand or know anything about hope. Hope was an alien concept to me. I had to be in CoDA many, many years before I had any kind of inkling about what hope was. For me now, in CoDA, in my recovery, I accept that hope exists and that I can have hope. I can have a longing for something, and if and when it occurs, I am grateful. I can hope this or that happens in my recovery. I can pray for this or that to occur for the people I love. I can hold out hope that it will. If it does not, my hopes are not dashed. My hopes go on infinitely into the future. Anything is possible, especially since I have achieved this much recovery in this program. I believe anything is possible, including my ability to hope for more. I pass.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Today's topic is hope. Hope has many forms of expression. Please feel free to share on your experiences with hope in any way you like, including how you experience hope in your CoDA recovery. We are open for shares. Anyone can share.
David, can I share again? This is Jim.
Please continue.
When I started CoDA, I found the literature was so beautiful, but what I found, where I found hope was the promises. And as I read those promises, it was like having the dessert before the meal. I found when I went there, I did find a new sense of belonging, and I did have a feeling of emptiness and loneliness. And as time goes on, I'm realizing each promise as I realize each step, and they're so beautiful. Can I read the promises, or were you going to do that at the end?
No, we don't read the promises at the end. I don't believe. But if you would like to read the promises now, I don't have an objection. Feel free.
Thank you. I can expect a miraculous change in my life by working the program of Codependence Anonymous, as I make an honest effort to work the 12 steps and follow the 12 traditions. 1, I know a new sense of belonging. The feeling of emptiness and loneliness will disappear. 2, I am no longer controlled by my fears. I overcome my fears and act with courage, integrity, and dignity. 3, I know a new sense of freedom. 4, I release myself from worry, guilt, and regret about my past and present. I am aware enough not to repeat it. 5, I know a new love and acceptance of myself and others. I feel genuinely lovable, loving, and loved. 6, I learn to see myself as equal to others. My new and renewed relationships are all with equal partners. 7, I am capable of developing and maintaining healthy and loving relationships. The need to control and manipulate others will disappear as I learn to trust those who are trustworthy. 8, I learn that it is possible for me to mend, to become more loving, intimate, and supportive. I have the choice of communicating with my family in a way which is safe for me and respectful of them. 9, I acknowledge that I am a unique and precious creation. 10, I no longer need to rely solely on others to provide my sense of worth. 11, I trust the guidance I received from my higher power and come to believe in my own capabilities. 12, I gradually experience serenity, strength, and spiritual growth in my daily life. Thank you for letting me read, and I'll pass.
Thank you for your share. Today's topic is hope, and we are open for shares if anyone would like to share on today's topic.
Yeah, how long is the share?
We don't have a spiritual timekeeper today. I think I would just ask people to be respectful and allow everyone who wants to share a chance to share. Feel free to take a share.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Glenn. I'm codependent, and I'm from Los Angeles, South Pasadena.
Welcome, Glenn.
Thank you. Hope. So I could not live on hope that the angels would just come from the sky and land on my lap. Rather, I remained hopeful that things will get better. Yeah, so I did not live on it. I was being hopeful. After 30 years experience I was in relationship. Never knew I had codependent issues until last year when I entered CoDA about 11 months ago. August 22nd is my birthday of CoDA. And it was pretty amazing. I think I'm a pretty accomplished guy after being raised in South Central Compton, notorious gangs and violence in the 70s and 80s, the youngest of 10 children. And one could only imagine, the stuff I was around, and I can see how, later in life, some of these unmanaged adult behaviors that these traits that I've carried for many years had created a lot of problems in relationship. But I find myself, I'm like, wow, I'm doing really well, with respect to my business and other things, but why do I have broken relationships? Why am I always suffering? And so when I entered into my third long-term relationship about 4 years ago, that's when pretty much I started really opening my eyes. About a year ago, I learned that my fiance of 2 years was a serial cheater. That really broke my heart. And I crashed. That was my rock bottom in the midst of COVID when my business had to shut down. So that was when I said, hey, man, I need to get better. So I'm not going to live on hope, but I'm going to remain hopeful. I need to do the work, not hope and pray that things are going to just show up. So I said, well, if all the stuff I've done, 5 college degrees later, 5 college degrees took work, accomplishing a successful business took work. So I said, well, if my emotions need help, I need to work on this now. So I was doing a little bit of homework on Google and I came across CoDA. Pretty interesting. And then I read up on the 12 steps and I said, wow, it's pretty amazing. I just connected with it. And since I am a problem solver and I think things out methodically and creatively, I just visualized those 12 steps. I saw them in 2 components. 7 of them had to do with the divine. The other is making amends. If you just look at it, 2 components, but it's just worded all differently. So I said, okay, if it's the divine, surrendering yourself to a higher power, and the other part is pretty much making amends, which is forgiveness. So it's higher power and forgiveness. Higher power and forgiveness. I go, is that how simple it is? When you listen to your minister and your priests and healers and your therapist, they all talk about this too. When you give up and surrender yourself, get down to the nitty gritty. And so that's what I did. In 60 days, I literally, when my business closed down, I prayed and meditated for 12 hours straight, literally. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I did. And I said, I'm not going to just pray. I need to have a purpose here. So while I was praying, I just got down to the bottom line. What are these repressed feelings that I'm dealing with that's causing these unmanageable behaviors? That was it. That was the culprit. So I was hopeful and I continued to pray and meditate with a focus and a purpose. And a few months passed, and all of a sudden in November, December of last year, these issues that I had, let's say being alone or compulsive shopping or, hanging out with the bad girl, if you will, just something like that, or be around bad people, all started to subside. And then my life started to change. And, 7, 8 months now later, my son told me, I have 3 kids. He goes, Dad, do you remember 4 years ago? I confronted you. I put my hand over your face. I said, Dad, if you don't get rid of this, whatever it is that's bothering you, he says, Grandma's going to die. You're going to lose your estate to this girl you're dating, and you're going to lose your children before you lose yourself. Do you hear me, Dad? He told me that 4 years ago. And so I was like, oh my God, goodness. So I was on this journey. And then 3 months ago, he got accepted to college. So we toured one of his schools here in California. And when we drove up, we were driving on the freeway, had this beautiful talk. And he goes, Dad, I'm closing this now. When he goes, Dad, he goes, how are you feeling? I go, why do you ask? He goes, I'm just asking. He goes, do you think you're just sitting on a high horse? I go, what do you mean? He goes, do you think you're just manic? I go, where are you getting that from? Like that. He goes, I'm just asking. I go, so do you think I'm going to fall into depression tomorrow? He goes, yeah, that's what I'm asking. And I looked at him, I go, no, I'm actually feeling really good. I'm fulfilled. He goes, yeah, I noticed that because Mom told me that you're different. Even all your clients, everyone's saying you're different. He goes, 4 years ago when I confronted you when I was only 14 years old, I saw something over your body, he said. He goes, that was the veil of darkness. He goes, now it's been lifted off your body through your prayer and meditation. And now you are a whole new man, Dad. You are Dad now. You're here with me. Anyway, that's my share and that's my miracle. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for sharing today.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome.
If you're interested, I have posted a link in the chat where the recordings of Fellowship Forum can be found, and where the recording of today's meeting will get posted sometime later today or tomorrow. We are still open for anyone who would like to share on today's topic, hope.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I'm grateful recovering codependent, and I know I've shared, but one simple thing that I needed to point out about hope is step 2. When I came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity, that is something that envelops hope for the journey of recovery for me. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing today. This is David, and I'll share a little more on my thoughts about hope. Hope for me is boundless. It has the potential to take down the walls of resistance, like Joshua's trumpet. With hope, my resistance to change crumbles before me, allowing me to expand my understanding of my recovery. I recently was on a cross-country trip, and my wife hoped I would return well and soon. I hoped she was right. And my dog agreed. Come here, Candy. Pass.
Thank you, David. Precious.
I don't mind adding to my share for a minute. I want to respect everyone's time. To me, this is a surprise. I didn't know we were going to talk on hope, but what's coming to my thoughts at this moment, because I'm in great recovery right now, and I've been pretty consistent. So to me, hope is work. Yeah, hope is work. If not for the work, I would not be in the position I am here today. I can speak, I can be me. I'm able to give my undivided attention without being distracted by others. although I'm a very busy person, I take care of my mother. She's a dialysis patient. I got 3 children. I run 2 successful businesses. I can be here and make the time. It's because through hope, it was through work, there's the work that I had done, the prayer and the meditation, the managing my emotions, the exercise, the sleeping well, eating well, surrounding myself with good people, educating myself on this stuff. And I actively practice what I am learning. So I'm not living on hope, I'm working. So whenever I'm being met by an enemy, if you will, whatever we call angel of darkness, I pretty much activate my Bible, pretty much my Bible scripture. So I pretty much, I just stay focused. I know the difference between right from wrong. I am hopeful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing.
We are still open for shares. There is time for 1 or 2 more shares. If anyone would like to share on the topic of hope, I'll also mention that in the Red Book, if you have a copy of In This Moment Daily Meditation, the word hope is mentioned on pages 22, 61, 67, 203, 250, 275, and 336. That, of course, are the hard copy pages. And if you have a digital copy of In This Moment, you can search for the word hope. I especially like what's on page 61. In this moment, I have hope. When I was little, I had lots of dreams for a life of happiness. Somewhere along the way, I gave up on those dreams. My life was full of problems. I believed that my problems were all someone else's fault. Candy, we're having a meeting. Stop barking. By working my program and going to CoDA meetings, I learned that my life is what I make of it. Now I have hope. I see ice, snow, and grayness out my window, but in just a few weeks, I'll be looking at fresh green grass, pink roses, and golden sunshine. Seasons change, and so will I.
Good afternoon. Can I share?
Yes, please. Welcome, Patty.
Thank
For
you.
that reading, David.
Thank you for the reading and the moderation of this wonderful meeting. My favorite topic is definitely hope, and I appreciate the distinction between hope and hopeful. It may seem kind of like a small thing, but I remember hearing that hope is not an action strategy. And not that we should debate that, because maybe it is, but I can be really lazy. And, so when I hear hope, that means, oh, good, okay, do nothing. That's just me, other people. And yet I love hope. Hope is one of my favorite things about all of the programs. So important for somebody that goes through hopelessness often, still. I'm hopeful about trying to change some things up. Today is my 29th wedding anniversary, and I'm returning from a family vacation of 24 people. And we're moving and new job and all of those stressors that I thought you only experienced when you're in your 20s or 30s. And here I am in my 50s and having them all at once also. But that said, I'm very, very hopeful for some change in my life. I feel the way someone described, something's got to change, and I don't know what it is. And So let it begin with me and perhaps my body, my own temple that I live in. That's about as near and dear to me as I can think of, for something that can change. And you know, I'm scared about the smallest things. I have fear in my marriage, and I want to change some things and not have so much codependence. I'm coming home from vacation and going directly to mass at 4:00 and not going home to my spouse who drove separately on vacation. And I don't know, it's a long story, but he's in a religious addiction and now I'm the one doing this. But I just feel like I need a buffer, and that gives me hope. I am in control of my own actions, and it's the beginning of a new day. And I don't know. I feel scared that all the wheels are going to come off, that I can't act independently in my own marriage, although he can. But the only way, I have to stop being resentful about that and just start acting and doing what I need to do. And if that means the end of the marriage or whatever that may mean, I'm on board today, because I'm hopeful and I'm resolved, and I'm a good person doing the next right thing, and I just want to keep doing that. And this codependence is killing me. So thanks for listening to that.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
Carol here, I'd like to share next. Funny. My hopes have varied. I mean, throughout my life, they've varied, they've changed, they've evolved. There's an old country song that comes to mind with the lyric that thank God for unanswered prayers. It's almost like, yeah, I remember growing up, in Roman Catholic family, going to church every Sunday, saying the Decade of the Rosary, praying all the time, and just, by rote following all this, and my father saying how God has a plan for you. And I go on and off thinking, is there a God? Maybe there is. I don't know what to believe in. And I just find that I'm constantly questioning things. And I'm also struggling with trying to sustain a sense of hope. Because I too have had challenges in my adult relationships, as I'm finally now hunkering down and focusing on, what really happened in my childhood and how can I heal from that. And so I'm hopeful that as I change, that I'm in effect creating positive change, both in my relationships in general, but also and especially with my very fragmented family. And it's really challenging to try to be the change, try to be the positive change in a family where I feel triggered, and I have to try to keep centered and grounded so that I'm getting better at establishing boundaries. I'm getting better at being in touch with my feelings, identifying them, acknowledging them, being with them, because I call my feelings my inner guidance system. And when I pay close attention to them, they guide me to what I need. And I grew up in a family where I believed that my needs didn't matter, that I didn't matter. Only my younger sister's needs mattered. And it was really hard to grow up in that environment and see the difference in the treatment she received versus my other siblings and I. So I ended up in my adult relationships, sort of sitting on the back burner and placating to others, people pleasing, and not really knowing exactly what my needs were, thereby not having the ability to speak up for them. But now that I'm learning more about boundaries, I've been in CoDA for 5 years, learning many things like CBT, DBT, NVC, nonviolent communication, dialectical behavior therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, all these other things, they're all tools, and they help me better understand my emotions. They help me get in touch with what my needs are. And in turn, I believe I'm getting better at speaking up for what my needs are. And that's how I can now better distinguish and determine who is worthy of having in my life. Because if I'm clear about my needs and wants and somebody totally disregards them, you know what? Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for showing me your true character. And thank you. I can say goodbye now. But it is challenging to do so in the moment. And I know I have to oftentimes pause, pull away when I feel triggered and hurt and angry, because I don't want my anger to take over, because I'm going to give my power away. But I stay in my power when I can stay calm and say to someone what I need and what I want. And my feelings help guide me to I call them my WNDs, my wants, my needs, and my desires. And that's what's giving me hope, that the better I can speak up for myself respectfully and congruently with others, in that my needs aren't more important than anyone else's, but they're equally important. And with that, I'll pass. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for sharing today. It is time to close the formal portion of this meeting. The meeting will stay open for questions and comments. I thank everyone for being here and for your shares. And I hope to see you again next month here at the Fellowship Forum. Next month's meeting will be August 28th, the last Saturday of the month. We meet every month for the Fellowship Forum on the last Saturday of the month. If anyone has a favorite topic or a thought for a topic for next month's meeting, love to hear about it. You can put it in the chat. You can suggest it today, and you can drop a line anytime to me via this link. Look at that. Put that in the chat here. And feel free to stick around after the formal closing of the meeting. We'll close the meeting with the closing prayer. I will remind everyone that we meet every month on the last Saturday of the month, 12 noon Pacific time, 1 p.m. except for Arizona Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Central Time, and 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see you then. And now I will share on the screen the CoDA closing prayer. Feel free to join in. I need to make that available. We thank our higher power for all that we have received from this meeting. As we close, may we take with us the wisdom, love, acceptance, and hope of recovery. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.